I wanted to talk to you about what to do when your adult child is disrespectful. So I have 7 tips for that. And before we begin, for those of you that are new here, my name is Sally Harris, and I help desperate moms of defiant adult children. I help them regain their own lives by creating a plan and using strategies and techniques that have worked for me over a 10-year period, and what I use to regain my own life. So I will put a link below to my discovery call, and I would be honored to talk with any of you to kind of see what's going on in your home with your adult child and how I can help you as a mom. All right, so let's get started. So as far as when your adult child is disrespectful, always remember that there is no excuse for complete disrespect from your child, regardless of age. In other words, you don't have to enable it. You don't have to be okay with it or to accept it. Definitely can work through it, but we don't have to just accept it as is, like, okay, well, my child's just going to disrespect me and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, that's very false. You owe it to yourself as a mom, and actually to them too, because they need to realize that they can't speak to you in such ways. So we all need to learn to manage our own emotions, and that doesn't disclude our adult children as much as sometimes they think they're discluded in that. So number 1 is try to empathize where their hostility is coming from. You know, I think sometimes we need to take a look at the mistakes that we have made in the past, because none of us are perfect parents. And I'm not saying beat yourself up over what went wrong, but if we're able to sit back and listen and see maybe where they're coming from, try to put ourselves in their shoes, and maybe sometimes there's even some mental health issues as well that they're dealing with, that kind of will kind of bring the whole understanding together, to see where they're coming from. But along with that, the next one is have a conversation with them about the disrespectful behavior. In other words, don't just accept it as is. You need to talk to them about it, and either they're going to be willing to engage in a conversation with you to correct the behavior, to compromise, or they're not. So if they are willing to do that, when you ask them, then you really need to be quiet and just listen. You need to see where they're coming from, because you may learn a lot about your child by just listening. I know for me in the past, you think you're the mom, like you have all the knowledge and you're trying to teach them and you've got the best intentions, but I think sometimes we don't listen. And so keep your composure, right, when you're listening. And again, you may learn something. And now let's say they're not willing to compromise. Then if they're not willing to compromise, then you are going to create these compromises yourself. You're going to create these boundaries yourself without any input from them. So they've been given an opportunity to voice their thoughts, to voice their feelings, and you've given them a safe opportunity to listen and to be quiet and listen to them. And if they're still not willing to do that, then you're the one making the boundaries, right? So now to follow through with those, you need to, that's the hardest part, is following through sometimes, because you think, oh, it's easy putting it on paper and I've presented it to them, but now following through. But that's a crucial part, because the consequences to them not following through with something is how they're going to learn. So the rules will get broken, the boundaries will be tested, but you have to have the will to enforce the consequences. And then you do that, you do your part, and then it's up to them how they react to it. And that's not on you as a mom, as a parent. Sometimes I think we need to face that you and your child may not have the same compatible personalities. You may be 2 different people that just need a break from each other, and that's okay. Depending on, if you're living in the same home and there's lots of different things that come into play, but that's something to keep in mind, to honor each other's space and maybe take a break if needed. But lastly, really, I think seeking a counselor, seeking a coach, that can help you with this. And that's honestly, that's what I do. So that is, being able to create that boundaries plan, talk about the enablement, what are your triggers, all of the things that us moms need help with, because we so desperately think that we have it all figured out, but yet at the same time, it's destroying us as our own being. So I hope that helps. There's a lot of factors that come into play, different scenarios and so forth, but that is really crucial as far as letting your child have a voice, listening to them, ask them to participate, and if they want to, super. Then let them have some say in the boundaries. So let them have a say in their curfew. As long as it's not completely unrealistic, let them have that say. It's going to empower them as well. And I think sometimes too many parents are more concerned about empowering themselves. And this shouldn't be a control game. This is like literally trying to coexist in the same home. And so that definitely something to take into consideration. So I hope that helps someone, and I will see you next time. Thanks.